I just got something very exciting. Check it out. I'm official with a logo and everything. I have some other stuff to show you, but I'll do that on the other side. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to Gary Knits, Gary Rides, a Craftivism podcast at the corner of making things and doing good. My name is Gary. I am a knitter and a crocheter. I am also a cyclist with AIDS Lifecycle, an annual 545-mile, 7-day bike ride from San Francisco to Los Angeles, fundraising for the life-saving work of the Los Angeles LGBT Center and the San Francisco AIDS Foundation. This is my 5th year of doing the ride, and as part of my fundraising, I am also the host of the End AIDS Knitalongs and Crochetalongs. You can find me on Instagram at GaryKnitsAndRides and also at D-Stash for Good, which is my fundraising fiber auction. And you can find me at Ravelry at GaryKnitsAndRides, where we also have a Ravelry group for the Knitalongs and the Crochetalongs. I'll talk a little bit about that in just a second here. It is a cold, gloomy day here in Southern California. I have a lot to get through today, some makes, talk about the upcoming Knitalong and Crochetalong, as well as some Craftivism ideas. So it has been a whirlwind of a couple of weeks. When I filmed the last episode, it was the day of the Pearl Awards, which were hosted by Knit the Rainbow. I was humbled to be one of the honorees for this first annual Pearl Awards event. It was a fantastic evening, very inspirational, meeting all of the other honorees, as well as learning more about the incredible work that Knit the Rainbow does, providing hand knit warm weather or warm items for cold weather for LGBTQIA plus youth who are experiencing housing insecurity or homelessness. They distribute garments in New York City, and this year for the first time in Chicago, looking to expand their reach. And over the course of the evening of the Pearl Awards, they were able to raise $10,000 to help expand their mission. So it was a fantastic evening. They said they're going to post the entire event up on their YouTube channel. I haven't seen it yet, but as soon as they do, I will let you know. But we had a great time. There were lots of prizes and giveaways and musical performances, just a really, really fun evening. We left the house here immediately after that and headed into Los Angeles to Dodger Stadium to see one of the final 3 North American shows of Elton John on his farewell tour. We hit incredible traffic, so we missed like the first 4 songs, and it was kind of hellish getting in there, but it was a great evening overall. We came back and then started getting ready for Thanksgiving, and unfortunately, I don't know if it was the concert. It's probably my best guess, but I also went to get a haircut that day. So anyway, somewhere over probably the course of that day, I got COVID. And so I had done a bunch of cooking. If you saw them on Instagram, I did some cooking videos leading up to Thanksgiving. We were going to have a big Indian feast for Thanksgiving. I got about half the cooking done before I tested positive for COVID, and we basically had to cancel Thanksgiving. And so for the last week or so, the 2 of us have been working our way through the COVID system, I guess. I've tested negative now. My husband's probably about a day away from testing negative. Luckily, we had our vaccine, so the symptoms were relatively mild. I just slept for like 16, 18 hours a day, had a little bit of congestion, and a bit of a cough, but otherwise that was about the worst of it. But it did knock me on my butt for several days, so I didn't get as much knitting done over these past 2 weeks as I had hoped, although I've played a little bit of catch up here since we're kind of still stuck in the house pretty much. So I've been able to do some catch up, which I'll show you here in a minute. And so we basically had no Thanksgiving. We ate a bunch of Indian food that we had already prepared, but didn't get to see our family, and that kind of stunk. But we made the best of it, and watched a lot of movies, and just hung out here in the house trying to recuperate a little bit. So this week has been a crazy busy week. It is the big announcement week for the winter edition of my End AIDS Knitalongs and Crochetalongs. So the winter edition is going to kick off on January 1st. It is going to run through February 28th. And every day this week, I've been going on Instagram Live and sitting down with either a designer or a dyer or both to announce the patterns and the yarns and all the details around the upcoming Knitalongs and Crochetalongs starting January 1st. I'm not going to go through all of the details here today. I think next time I post, I will gather up all the photos and everything and have a more fulsome run through of everything. But I will let you know that probably tomorrow I am going to compile all of the interview videos that I've done with the dyers and designers this week, post it here on YouTube so that you can sit back and see what's going on, get all of the details about when patterns are going to be released, when yarn kits are going to be available, all the pricing and all of that, all in one place. I will be updating today's show notes as that information gets released. I'm recording this on Wednesday, the 30th, and so I will have already done some of the videos, and then a couple more coming up. And so as that information comes out, I will update the show notes below, so all the information is there as well. Everything will also be in the End AIDS Knitalongs Crochetalongs FAQ, which is listed in the show notes. So as that information gets updated, I'll put it in there. But so far, we have sat down with Austin from Austin's Crochet Podcast, who has designed the It's Better shawl for the Crochet Along. It is a 3-skein DK weight shawl in 3 colors. It has some really cool intarsia color blocking, as well as some tassel finishing details. I'll post a picture of it up here. That is not done in the exact colorways of the kits that are going to be available from Louisiana Yarn Guys. Austin tweaked the color a little bit, so the mesh sort of border around it is going to be in a blue rather than in that gray. I think he thought the gray and the variegated maybe were too close together, so he's updated that with a blue. All those details will be in the video that is up on Instagram now with Louisiana Yarn Guys. And then we also have sat down with Maggie from Yarnaceous Fibers, who is not only designing the shawl for the Knitalong, but she is also dyeing up the yarn kits. So she is a superstar. She's one of the hardest working people in this business. She's constantly got clubs going and not only designs, but does amazing yarn dyeing. So I'm super excited to be working with her. We got to meet last year at Stitches West in person, and she's just a phenomenal dyer and designer. And so that's going to be a really fun fingering weight shawl project using some minis and some of her main color from her yarn dyeing. And then tomorrow, as you're seeing this, because this will be up on Friday, or later today, I should say, the final installment of the rollout will be with Laura from Always Be Kind Yarn and Joanne from Snowy Thistle Knits. And Joanne has designed a gorgeous cabled sock pattern that's going to be available in fingering weight and worsted weight. So it's called the Resolution and Resolution Light, because January 1st, New Year's resolutions. So the Resolution is the worsted weight and the Resolution Light is going to be the fingering weight. And then Laura has dyed up several tonal colors in both weights of yarn to be used to make the Resolution socks. So really excited about that. We did socks during the Pride Knitalong Crochetalong last year. People really got into it. And I thought it was nice to have a worsted weight sock in there because it's nice and cozy during the winter time to have like a little house sock to knit up. Plus it's going to go super fast. I think that that'll be a fast project. The Crochetalong should also be a fast project, DK weight. And as you saw in the picture, it's fairly open work. I think it's a lot of double crochets. So that should work up pretty quickly as well. So something nice and kind of chill to relax into after the busy holiday season. So I hope you will be able to join us for the Knitalong and Crochetalong that starts on January 1st. As we do with all the Knitalongs and Crochetalongs, there will be a series of at least 5 giveaways during the event in each of the categories. So the crocheters, the knitters, and the sock knitters will all be having their own buckets of prizes. There are prizes for whips, there are prizes for FOs, and maybe a couple of prizes thrown in there as well. We have a lot of fun. Every Tuesday afternoon, evening, depending on where you are, we have a Zoom call that is hosted by Valerie of Creations by Valerie. And we all kind of get together, show what we're working on, and just sort of chat. It's a really fun, laid-back group, and so hopefully you'll be able to join us for that as well. Again, portions of the patterns and proceeds from the pattern sales and yarn sales go to support my AIDS Lifecycle fundraising. I have a goal of raising $33,000 this year, on my way to raising $200,000 for the charities before I hang up my bike helmet and retire from active riding. So I appreciate everything that everyone's done, from the designers and the dyers to all the participants, to help me towards that goal. So that is it for the Knitalongs and Crochetalongs. We wrapped up the D-Stash for Good auction a few weeks ago. We'll probably have another one of those sometime in the middle of this Knitalong. So I would look for things starting kind of mid-January to start taking in listings, and then we'll have that maybe right at the beginning of February. I just don't want to have everything end exactly at the same time like I did this last time. So that's it. I thought maybe we could move on to the knitting portion of the show. I have one FO and I think 3 whips that I'm going to show, because 3 whips that I've actually, or 2 whips that I've actually been working on. I think last time I showed my Ellie Rue shawl from Shelby Shea's Stitches. I did not make any more progress on that. COVID kind of kept me occupied in the cooking before that. So I didn't make any progress in that, and that is going to be now my focus going forward, now that I have this FO. So the FO I have is this cute little hat. It is the Hip and Slip hat from Ross at Twisted Ambitions Yarn. It's a relatively new pattern of his. Really fun, fast to work up. So it's written in DK or fingering held double, which is what I did. I took this variegated yarn, which is a one of a kind from Lauren at Treehouse Knits, and held that double, and then had some solid leftover pink from a shawl project, and this leftover white from, I think this is from my shawlography actually. And so I tried to do some striping. It kind of the colors are just so close, it kind of blended in a bit with the variegated. So I tried to do, I guess, 4 rows of the pink, and then a row of the variegated, then 2 rows of the white. I guess 2 rows, and then 2 rows with the variegated 1 row in between. And it kind of blended in a little more than I was expecting, but otherwise I'm pretty happy. I love the pattern. Like I said, it worked up very quickly. I think I did not do the pattern justice by using this variegated yarn. So what's a little hard to see in here is there are slip stitch columns all the way up, but with the variegated yarn, it just kind of blends in together, and you don't see it as well as you do in the solid colors that Ross shows it on the pattern page. I also made the brim a little, it's meant to be rolled up as a double brim. Given that this is going to be for someone who lives here in Southern California, who is just getting through a battle with cancer and wanted a hat to wear, I didn't think the super heavy double brim made a lot of sense, so I shortened it up a little bit. And I probably should have knit a little bit longer. It's a little small in terms of length, but I think if she drops the brim all the way down and just kind of wears that, it's a little more slouchy. I mean, it does like that. I think it fits fine on my head, and her head's probably a little bit smaller than mine, so I think it's fine. I think she saw the yarn, she liked the colors. Like I said, it was a really fun hat to work on. I think I'm going to grab some solid DK and make another one for myself rather than hold the fingering double. I'm desperately wanting to make myself a hat. I don't know if this will be the next one, but I really feel the need to get a new hat on the needles for myself. But now that this is finished, as I said, my next focus, other than the 2 whips I'm otherwise working on, is going to be to finish that Ellie Rue shawl, which was a crochet along project for the Pride edition of the AIDS Crochet Along last year. And I lost yarn chicken and had to wait for some more yarn, so that kind of sat on the back burner for a while. But I'm back to it. I only have a few more rounds to go and it'll be done, and I'll get all the ends woven in and everything. So that is my one FO. It is the hip and slip hat from Ross at Twisted Ambition Yarn. And in terms of whips, I've got 2 that I was going to show. First one, and these will probably be, you'll see these for the next couple of episodes. This is the It's Winter Somewhere cowl by Fatima Hines, aka Disturbing the Fleece. I've shown this before. It is the just finished Knitalong, or half of the Knitalong project for the fall Knitalong. We did the hat and cowl set in yarn again from Ross at Twisted Ambitions Yarn. This is his Sedona colorway, but it's this gorgeous cabled pattern. Really, really fun. My goal is to be trying to get through 1 pattern repeat a week. I believe it's a 12-row pattern. I'm a few days behind because I got distracted doing some other stuff. So I'm going to try to play a little bit of catch up on this to get this done. This is a holiday gift for a friend of mine in New York. And as long as I get this done in the next 2 or 3 weeks, that should be fine. But it's a really fun pattern. I've talked about it before. It's especially great, I think, if you're not 100% comfortable with cables, because the pattern repeat is pretty straightforward. I think in a 12-row repeat, you're only cabling on 4 of the rows, and they're really good cables to practice cabling without a needle, because it's just a 2/2 or a 1/1, which is, basically just a twisted stitch. So that's the It's Winter Somewhere cowl. There's a matching hat that goes with it. A really great gift project. Both of them work up really quickly. It's DK weight yarn, so it is a fast knit. And the last whip that I have to show is my replacement for my Stephen West Mystery Knitalong, which, as you know, I frogged, but desperately wanted to work on a Stephen West project, and had this one sort of in the wings for a while. This is the Exploration Station. And last time I showed this, I had finished all the first section, which are these short row wedges, and I was on to the brioche, which I have now finished. I have 1 row extra, which is this eyelet row in between the sections, but I just didn't finish the second pass of it. I had a ton of fun with this brioche. I will tell you that brioche and brain fog from COVID do not necessarily go together. I had noticed a bunch of mistakes last week and sort of was wondering what to do, and people on Instagram were saying, "Oh, rip it out. You notice it. I can see it." And instead, what I did was went back and refreshed my memory by watching a couple of YouTube videos, notably a Pearl Soho one, and is it Nancy Marchant that does this, sort of the Queen of Brioche, on fixing this particular problem in brioche stitching, which was purling what I should have, or brioche purling when I should have brioche knit, or vice versa. And it was showing up on, this is the right side, it was showing on this side much worse with the turquoise knit columns, and not so bad on the other side. But I just went ahead, and it was a lot of stitches, but I dropped down and was able to fix it. And I'm really happy that I went through that process, because as the week went on, and I was trying to sit in here and watch movies and do brioche knitting, I was making more and more mistakes. So I've gotten very, very good at fixing that particular. I would not say I'm an expert in by any means in fixing brioche mistakes, except for that particular one, mixing up a purl with a knit. But I like how it turned out. Here's the wrong side, so you can see the variegated columns on the other side. And now I'm on to the third section, which I hope to have finished by the time I film another episode. It is a striped section, so I think it is striping this purple brown variegated with the white gray variegated. So that should look pretty cool, I think. And just looking ahead at the pattern, it looks like it's a pretty straightforward just striping with some increases to continue growing the size of the shawl. So that should be a little easier to do while I am watching Marvel superhero movies in the evenings. And the only other project that I have that I'm working on that I'm not going to show, or that I have been actively working on over the last week or so, has been the monster rainbow marled garter stripe blanket that I showed a couple episodes ago. I'm well past the halfway point now. I think I looked at it last night, and I think there are 12 more sections. And I'm based on how fast I'm working on it, I think if I got 2 of those done a week, I should be done with it pretty close to the end of the year, maybe by Martin Luther King Day, and can then get that shipped off to the recipient and have that monster put to bed. It's definitely a much bigger project. Bigger, not harder, just bigger, physically bigger project than I had planned. I'm making up the pattern, so it's my own fault that it's gotten out of hand, but I want to finish it up the way that I had envisioned it in my mind. So that's all that I've got going on in terms of actual knitting. Once the Ellie Rouge shawl is done, I probably will try to get a hat knocked out for myself before the Knitalong and Crochetalong start. I haven't decided the order of the projects I'm going to do for the Knitalong and Crochetalong. Earlier this year, I said I don't think I will try to do every single project, every single round, just because that really ties up my free knitting. But then every time I see the new projects, I get super excited about making them, and so I want to do them all. And so maybe I'll just start them all and kind of embrace my pace. The good news is the spring version of the Knitalongs and Crochetalongs are a choose your own adventure, so we're all going to be working on whatever we want to. So I can play a little bit of catch up then, but I also have another big blanket project that has to get done this spring because it's for a graduation present for a friend of ours who's headed off to college, and I want to get that done for her. So I don't know. Something about the socks is really grabbing my attention right away. So maybe I'll get started on the socks and then have a small bite-sized project to sort of inspire me to get going on the other two. So once I finish Ellie Rouge, though, I'm hoping I can bang out a hat for myself before the Knitalong and Crochetalong starts. So let's get into acquisitions. And it was a relatively quiet week. I don't know if anyone else got sucked into Black Friday or not. I tried to be since I had just come back from Stitches SoCal and done some damage up there in terms of actual stash. I didn't do too much with Black Friday in terms of things from my stash that I'm going to hold on to. There's some specific things that, I bought for prizes and things like that, which as they come up, I'll point them out. But for my personal stash, I didn't do too much. But let's start with Heart Mail, which is donations that have come in for giveaways for the End AIDS Knitalongs and Crochetalongs. And this is going to kind of get all blended together a little bit because some things have come in that are kind of a mix of things that I bought and then some donations that have come in as well. So there was a sale. This wasn't Black Friday, I don't believe, but Lila Styles Bags was doing a sort of clear out her website sale and had a bunch of her yarn cozies on a pretty deep discount. And so I bought a bunch of them for giveaway prizes. I just got turned on to these. I had never really used them before, and then I think my sister and some of the folks on the Zoom call were saying that they always use them, and I started using them on a couple projects and really enjoyed them. So I got a bunch of different designs, and in the package with the ones that I had ordered. Let me hold over her head. Angelica from Lila Styles. Here is her business card. If you don't know who she is, she has beautiful bags and does a lot of really fun like pop culture stuff. So this one is like 80s cartoons characters. There's She-Ra and Rainbow Bright's at the top of Rainbow Bright's head. Here's one that is just all 80s stuff. So He-Man and Nintendo, and I love rock and roll. I got a Broadway one. There's one that's all Wicked stuff. So a lot of pop culture references in both her bags and her other accessories. So Angelica threw in a bunch of extras. I had bought some, and she threw in a bunch of extras to include as giveaways. So thank you so much, Angelica of Lila Styles Bags, for adding some stuff to the booty stash for giveaways. I really appreciate it. Anyone who's a maker who would like to do some donations to go into the giveaway pile, I truly appreciate that. It's a great way to support my fundraising efforts by providing things for people who are participating in the Knitalongs and Crochetalongs as gifts. So that was both a heart mail and a little booty stash acquisitions. Likewise, actually, I'm going to hold off on that one for just a second because it kind of ties in at the end of things. But in terms of other booty stash enhancements, which are things that I pick up for prizes, very excited about these because I've been waiting for a while. But Angel of the Scrappy Angel put up a sale heading into the holidays, and I'd been hearing about Angel's bags from Kevin and Ray at Needles at the Ready for a long time, and had never got my hands on one. But when she put some on sale, I grabbed some, and I'm going to put these in for some of the bigger prizes in the Knitalongs and Crochetalongs. So I got two. So the thing about her bags, and they really are great, is they have these wire frames at the top. So once you open them, they stay open and kind of act as this little bucket. And so this one is the Aran bag in this really fun zebra print. It has I'm guessing it's faux leather bottom, as well as the metal frame. And then inside there are two pockets. It's a really big, you can see compared to my head, it's a really big, generously sized bag. Definitely a multi-skein project can go in that. So that's the Aran bag. I think this will probably be a grand prize one round of the Knitalong Crochetalong. And then a slightly smaller one is her Lorelei bag, which is in this awesome chicken print and has the same metal frame, a little bit smaller, as I said, pockets on the inside as well. And then this one has handles, so you can carry it like a handbag, but it also has the metal frame, so once it's open, it stays open, and just has a fabric bottom to it. So those, and each of her bags come with a really cute little Angel Progress Keeper zipper pull. I also got an even smaller bag that I'm keeping for myself in this really cool fox print. So I got two of the Scrappy Angel bags to put into the giveaway pile. So go check out her website if you haven't. But they really are really great, and I'm glad that I finally was able to get my hands on a couple of those. The other thing that I got, which is not necessarily going to be for giveaway prizes, but I will probably throw some in the mix occasionally, just into folks' prize packages. But I showed it up at the top. This is magnet, a little fridge magnet. But I've been working with a graphic designer named Angel. She's angel.gable on Instagram. And she came up with this really awesome logo for the podcast, just for the Gary Knits, Gary Rides Instagram account that sort of has all the elements of everything I'm doing in there, from the knitting needles to the little yarn ball wheels on the bike, and the HIV/AIDS ribbon. So I got some magnets made up. Someone was running just to get some samples and see how they look. So I think they turned out great. I will probably have these turned into stickers, maybe somewhere down the road, an enamel pin. I don't think I'm going to go crazy with merch to sell, but I do think it will be another way for me to do a little fundraising. But one of the other design ideas that I went ahead and had made into stickers is this Ride Love Stitch. I showed this the other day on Instagram, but this little Ride Love Stitch logo, we have it both horizontally and vertically. It's a bit of a riff on one of the official AIDS Lifecycle taglines, which is Ride, Love, Live. And so I kind of switched it around to make it Stitch. But you'll be seeing this little logo in several different places as well. So I was really excited about that. I can't wait. I have a couple other things coming, and then I'll decide what to do. But I would expect that at some point in the new year, there'll be some stitch markers, there'll be some enamel pins, things like that, just to kind of add another layer to the fundraising, and throw some things into for prize winners as well. In terms of, I think that's it for specifically things for going into the giveaway, except for one thing that I'm going to get to at the very end. Then I said that I did a little bit of Black Fridaying for myself. None of that has come in the mail yet, because it's just a few days ago. But I did have a couple other things that came through. Oh, actually, no, one of them did. Let's do Black Friday. So there were a couple really great sales, like buy one, get one 70% off, and a buy one, get one 50% off, which is stuff that's coming. But Eat Sleep Knit was having a mystery discount sale. So you filled up your card and then checked out, and then you got a mystery percent applied to your checkout. And one of the things that she had on her website that I'd been really interested in trying for a long time are these Zauberball Crazies. I had thought about using these as some for the color work in a sweater. I have a navy blue sweater's quantity of yarn that I would like to do a colorwork yoke sweater in, and I thought this might be good. I have since been told, and I would love to hear other comments below, that it may not be contrasty enough for color work on a navy blue background, that because of these darker bits in the yarn, that when you got to that point, it's going to kind of blend in, and so I should probably be looking for something that has a little more contrast. I have never done color work or stranded color work, and definitely never done a yoked sweater, never done a sweater for myself. So thoughts I could probably do this, obviously use it for something else, and maybe look for something a little more contrasty for my colorwork sweater. But anyway, this was from Eat Sleep Knit. They were on sale, and over Black Friday I grabbed those. The other big sale that I can never pass up, a big yarn sale, but Knit Picks was running their big annual sale, which you can get up to 60% off and stuff. And so I didn't get a lot, but I grabbed whatever I can that were like $2-3 bottles of skeins of yarn in both the Brava bulky and then in some of the Felici worsted. I got a couple different colorways of that. I'm going to start trying. My mom asked me to make some of these, I think they're called like twiddle muffs or something like that. They're basically for, and I don't know if I mentioned this before, but they're for Alzheimer's and dementia patients, and they are just these little kind of muffs that have different textures, and you sew buttons on them and things like that, that allow the Alzheimer's and dementia patients to have something to do with their hands, to sort of keep them interested, and you have different colors and textures and things like that. But all the ones that I saw patterns for on Ravelry were done with bulky weight. I mean, you could do it with any weight of yarn because you're just basically knitting a big rectangle and then seaming it together and putting things on the inside and the outside. But I thought, well, if I can grab some really inexpensive yarn for $2 a skein during Knit Picks big sale, I'd go ahead and do that and start working on some of those. And then for the Felici, I got several colors, and these are going to get turned into there we go. These are going to get turned into hats for Knit the Rainbow. So oh my gosh, I cannot do it right. There we go. So I'm going to knit these up for Knit the Rainbow sometime over the course of the next few months. Probably just make Ross hats from Ross That Smells Like Yarn, or something similar, a basic hat that I can work on really quickly, and those should work up quickly in worsted weight. So I got that from Knit Picks. And then the only other thing that really came, and it had been a pre-order, was my X-Men yarn, yes, from 5 Borough Yarns. So if you don't know Lindsay at 5 Borough Yarn, she has come out with a series of Marvel-inspired yarns. She did her Crafters Assemble one set, which were basically all of the Avengers inspired yarns, and then I think last year she came out with the Crafters Assemble 2, which included some of the more expanded Marvel Cinematic Universe characters. And then this year she came out with a series that are inspired by the X-Men. I won't show them all, but this is Dr. Hank McCoy. This is Beast. I just picked my kind of 3 favorites. This is Rogue. The name of the yarn is Southern Belle, and it's perfect if you ever watched the X-Men cartoons from back in the 90s. It is a perfect representation of Rogue's outfit. And then this is Nachtfalter, which is the oh my god, Nightcrawler Kurt. His colorway, so you get the blue of his skin with the red of his outfit. So they all turned out great. I think there are 11. And then as part of Black Friday, she opened up just for a couple days your ability to get those yarns for, I think, the last time, she said. And so I did not get the first set of Avengers yarn. And when the second set of Avengers yarn came out, I thought it would be really cool to do a whole blanket, a Marvel superhero blanket. I loved the Marvel movies, and not when I was a kid, but I was in my 20s, I had a friend of mine who worked for Marvel that used to supply me with endless supplies of X-Men comics, and so I read in the 90s, read a whole bunch of different X-Men series, and really got into it. So I thought it'd be fun to sort of have a throw for myself made out of all of the Marvel colors. And so I wanted to get the first round of Avengers, and I put out a call on Instagram. If anyone had any that they could sell me, I'd be happy to trade yarn, whatever. And I got a couple of skeins from someone from that, but I could never get the whole set. So I was super excited that Lindsay reopened it. So I was able to get ordered, and I think it'll come sometime in the spring, but no rush because this project is a one for the future. But I'll be able to have my own whole Make Mine Marvel, probably granny stripe or some sort of granny motif throw for myself out of all the Marvel characters' colors. So that's going to be really cool. So I'm excited about that. So the X-Men stuff came. And then in terms of the last thing that I was going to talk about from that came in for the mail, and this is sort of a combination of the booty stash enhancement, and we'll get into a little bit on the Craftivism side, is Two Sheeps have put out their 3rd annual yarn calendar. So this is their 2023 Two Sheeps yarn calendar, and they sent me a copy to show on the episode, and then they also sent one for a giveaway, and I have 2 more coming. So I'm going to have 3 of these to give away. I think they will be, since it only makes sense since we're starting off the Knitalong Crochetalong at the beginning of the year. So this will be the kickoff or the cast-on prize for the giveaway. So that first week of the Knitalong Crochetalong, we always do a giveaway for cast-on, and so 3 folks will get copies of the Two Sheeps calendar. So last year's calendar was all focused on sort of heritage sheep breeds and some of the different farms and things like that raise those sheep. And this year they got Russell from Knit in the Pit in Asbury Park to curate the calendar, and he teamed up with 12 different indie designers and 12 different indie dyers. And so each month, and the photography is all sort of the American West, and the pictures are gorgeous, and definitely grab a copy of this because the pictures and then the way they've tied them into with the yarn. So this is just an example. So they have this beautiful picture of, looks like the redwoods, and then Redwood Winter by Rebel Woolworks, and then the pattern is the Explorer Shawl by Mary Hunt. And they just did such a fantastic job of pairing up the photos with the yarn and the patterns. So each month, I'll just flip through a couple here. Each month there's a different designer and different colorway of yarn. I mean, just come on, look at that, gorgeous. Color of yarn featured. And so then beginning the first day of each month, the pattern will be released on Ravelry and I think on Payhip and other places. And the yarn colorway will be released and available for sale from that point through the rest of the year at the Two Sheeps website. And 100% of the profits from the pattern sales and from the yarn sales are then going to be donated to a charity of the dyer and designer's choosing. So this is, I mean, it couldn't have been a more perfect tie-in for what I'm doing here, because it kind of ties in the yarn and the indie dyers and a Craftivism angle in terms of raising money for charities. So some really amazing, and some friends of mine in the calendar. So people that have already done things for the Andes Knitalongs, like Christopher at Cabin Boy Knits, and Fatima at Disturbing the Fleece has a pattern in here. My buddy Ava at Seismic Yarn has the June colorway, and she's teamed up with Seth from Seth Richardson Knits for that pattern. So there's just Tanis Gray, Amba O'Brien. So some big names in the yarn world are a part of this, and I just think it's a fantastic project and beautiful to boot. So I was really excited to get this. I'm really excited to give these away. I'm getting another copy just for myself, and there are several of these patterns that when they come out, I'm looking forward to picking up and trying them out. So congratulations to Two Sheeps and to Russell. Kudos in terms of putting this together, and well done for everyone who is a part of this, because it's really turned out to be a fantastic item. So this is the Two Sheeps 2023 yarn calendar. It's available now on their websites. Two Sheeps was one of the, I thought it was going to come today. So if you see me keep looking out this way, it's because I keep thinking the mailman's going to come. They're the other Black Friday sale that I kind of got on. They had a buy one, get one 50% off sale on all of their yarn exclusives from last year's calendar. And so there was in there a llama silk blend from Long Island Yarn and Farm, were the makers of the dyers of the yarn, and it just sounded too delicious to pass up. I've never felt llama yarn, so maybe it's not great, but it sounds like it sounds, that and silk together sounded fantastic to me. So I got a couple of skeins of that I wanted to test out, but I thought it was arriving today, but it hasn't gotten here yet, so I don't have it to show. But maybe next time you'll get to see my llama yarn. So the Two Sheeps, brings us into sort of the Craftivism end of the episode. So I did want to highlight that because, again, 100% of the profits from the pattern sales and the yarn sales for the patterns and yarns featured in this calendar are being donated to charities that the designers and dyers have picked out. A couple other things I wanted to highlight. My friend Dina, who is Veggie Knit Mama on Instagram, announced that this week she is running in the New York City half marathon in March, and so she is beginning her training. She's a big avid runner, has run, I know she runs the Brooklyn half every year or almost every year. But as part of her training this year, she wanted to do something to give back as well, which again, right up my alley between the bike riding and the knitting. And so she is raising money as part of her training for City Harvest, which is a local to her organization. So in New York City, and they rescue food from restaurants and other food providers, so grocery stores and things like that. They rescue food and then distribute it to those who are experiencing food insecurity, either through food pantries or through other social service agencies. They've been operating for 40 years in New York. It's a fantastic organization. And so Dina's raising money for City Harvest through as part of her training. And so she has her Dina Runs fundraiser running right now. There's a link in the show notes below. So if you have a few extra bucks and you want to do something nice this holiday season and help provide some food to folks in New York City who are experiencing some difficult times, that is a great way to do it. So congratulations, Dina. I hope your training goes well. I could never, ever in my wildest dreams run a half marathon. I could ride my bike for days at a time, but running, definitely not something that I could do for any more than like 20, 30 minutes on a treadmill. The other one that I wanted to bring to folks' attention is probably one that people have seen before. It's an organization called SACS, and it's supporting a community with kindness, and they distribute or organize the distribution of soap sacks for people who are experiencing homelessness or just other people in need. I think the organization started in 2017 and basically arose from a realization that people in need can't use their food stamps or the programs that they get assistance from the government to buy. Oftentimes they can't use it to buy toiletries and everything other things that they need for daily personal hygiene. And so there's a real need because that can only be used in some cases for food items. And so the food pantries and things like that had a real need for soap and toothpaste and other personal hygiene items. And so they came up with an idea to have folks in the knitting and crafting community make soap sacks. So there are these little sacks. Maybe I'll pop a picture of them up, that then you insert a bar of soap into them, and they can be used as a washcloth or just to hold their soap. So for folks who are experiencing homelessness and maybe have to shower at shelters and things like that, it's a way for them to have that soap with them and carry it around with them. For folks going into food pantries, it's another item that they can pick up to help supply their needs. So the organization on their website has patterns for, I saw crochet, definitely knitting, definitely, I think weaving, loom knitting, things like that, to make these little soap sacks. You then put a bar of soap into the soap sack, and then you deliver them to the social service agency that then can distribute them. So there are a list of resources on their website in terms of not just the patterns, but who you can send these things to. But I wanted to encourage everyone, and I double checked with Austin at Knit the Rainbow today, and that is something that they do distribute to their clients as part of their distributions of hats and scarves and gloves, but they also will distribute soap sacks to the LGBTQIA plus youth that they serve. His only ask was that you do put a bar of soap into the soap sack because with their limited budget, they don't have the means to go out and buy all the soap to then fill up the soap sack. But he said that it's something that these young people definitely need and definitely appreciate getting those soap sacks and having access to personal care items. So highly encourage. All the instructions are there on the website. I said they want them, it's for getting wet and soap. So cotton yarn is the yarn that you need to use to make the soap sacks. But again, the link to the website is down below. Highly recommend checking that out. I've got a ton of extra cotton yarn. Last year I went in a washcloth knitting binge because I was sending them out as thank you gifts for my donors for AIDS Lifecycle. And so I have a ton of extra dishy and sugar and cream and things like that. So I think I'm going to knit up some of these soap sacks and try to get those out to Knit the Rainbow this year as well. So those were my 3 little Craftivism ideas for this week. I know there's a lot of asks and things out there with Giving Tuesday just having ended, and into the holiday season. There's a lot of requests for money and time, but I always like to end each episode with just a few ideas where we can take our love of crafting and our desire to do some good and put those two together and do something great for our communities. So thank you all for joining me. I hope you will go later this afternoon and tomorrow and watch the videos of all of my sit downs with the dyers and designers who are participating in the winter 23, I can't even believe it's 23, but winter 23 edition of the End Age Knitalongs and Crochetalongs. I think it's going to be a fantastic event. Each one gets a little bit bigger. I love that. I hope we can make this one even bigger than the one we just wrapped up. I will be back in 2 weeks with another episode before the Christmas holidays. I hope everyone's staying cozy and warm and doing some holiday knitting if that's something that you enjoy, and have a great couple of weeks. Thanks so much.